Hello, and welcome to Musical Theater Through the Ages. Before we get started, I just want to make you aware of a few things. First of all, there are bathrooms by the door, out there, and also in this hallway right down the hall. Also, in case of an emergency, this whole room along this wall is essentially a giant glass door, so exit that way. Or there's the giant door you entered in over there. There will also be a camera going. I wrote in my script in the back, yeah, that's changed, right there, through the whole performance. So if you don't feel like you have to record or take pictures or anything, but if you choose to take pictures, even though I encourage you not to do that, please don't use a flash. I know the lighting is bad, but please. Okay, what else? Oh, I get easily distracted. That's why I don't use flash. Yeah. As many of you know, I'm Kaitlyn. I think almost all of you know I'm Kaitlyn. I'm a performing arts major here. I'm a senior. I can only say that for 9 more days, so I'm going to keep saying it for 9 more days. I hope to be in the performing arts industry for the rest of my life, which is why it was so important for me to do this before I graduated. I have been working this semester on a repertoire of 8 pieces of musical theater songs from the 19th century through today, and I'm very excited to share these pieces with you. Between every number, you will be hearing a little bit about the next piece from my friend Eli, and he will give you the rundown about who it was written by and a little bit about what the song, where the song takes place within the grand scheme of the show. But first, I'll be giving you the rundown. My first piece is from the operetta The Mikado, which opened in London in 1885 and was written by Gilbert and Sullivan. They're a very famous duo. In this piece, as the character Yum Yum prepares for her wedding, she marvels at her own beauty, but not in a conceited way, according to her. It was out of the frankness of nature. So without further ado, here is The Sun Whose Rays Are All Ablaze from The Mikado.
As Kaitlyn previously mentioned, my name is Eli, and I'll be giving you a brief introduction to each of her pieces. This next piece is from Anything Goes. This musical has undergone many changes over the years. It first debuted in 1934, and it was revived many times. but this particular piece was added in for the 2011 revival. The music and lyrics were written by Cole Porter, and the book was written by Guy Bolton and P.G. Woodhouse. It's a very popular musical that follows Billy Crocker on his journey to be with Hope Harcourt. After meeting in a taxi cab, Billy cons his way into the SS American, where he poses as public enemy number 1 and eventually is arrested aboard the ship. During the scene the next song takes place in, Billy has just been arrested and Hope has just realized too late that she was in love with him. So with that being said, here is Goodbye Little Dream Goodbye from Anything Goes. Moving on to the 40s and 50s, the next piece will be from The Music Man, which debuted on Broadway in 1957. The music and lyrics were written by Meredith Willson, and there is also a book by Meredith Willson as well, along with Franklin Lacey. In this musical, we'll follow a love story once again. Harold is a con man in Indiana who tricks parents into giving him lots of money to create bonds with their kids. He ends up in River City, Indiana, where he begins a school band program despite not quite being qualified to do so. Harold ends up falling in love with Marion Peru, who is the only trained musician in town and works as the librarian. In this song, Till There Was You, Marion is explaining to Harold how much her world has changed since they met and what a difference he's made in her life. Here is Till There Was You from The Music Man.
Till there was
This next piece is from the musical She Loves Me, with music by Jerry Bach, lyrics by Sheldon Harnick, and a book by Joe Masteroff. The musical is the third adaptation of the 1937 play Parfumery by Hungarian playwright Miklos Laszlo. In the show, you follow George Nowick and Amalia Balash, two co-workers who are constantly at odds with one another. But they're unknowingly secret pen pals. They start all of their letters with "Dear Friend," as you'll hear in the next song, since the letters are written anonymously. In this scene, Amalia thinks that she has just been stood up by her dear friend, as George realizes she was his pen pal the whole time and lies, saying there was an older, fat, bald man outside who said he wouldn't be able to make it on his date. Eventually, they realize that it had been each other all along, and once again, they fall in love. And now, here is Vanilla Ice Cream from She Loves Me. How's everyone enjoying the show so far?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're going to give Kaitlyn a little break for a second. That was a very difficult song. She asked me to talk to you all a little bit about what she's been doing and what she's been working so hard on that allowed her to pull all this together. At the end of last semester, she sat down with Dr. Oberoi and she pitched an idea about doing something similar to this, but also incorporating popular music and making it a history of both pop and musical theater. Since adding in another genre, however, it would greatly reduce the amount of songs that she would be able to sing in each. They both decided that focusing on musical theater would be most beneficial, which it very much so turned out to be. And now we're all here and we can listen to a more comprehensive history of musical theater. Kaitlyn is also very indecisive, which I'm sure most of you know firsthand. So picking the repertoire for the recital was very difficult for her, and she and Dr. Oberoi must have gone through about like a dozen or so pieces before narrowing it down to these specific 8. For her next piece, Kaitlyn will be singing a song that she absolutely adores from a musical that she actually was in high school. I'm sure you all have heard of Les Mis. It's a very well-known and very sad, completely sung-through musical that was made into a movie 18 years ago. The musical was written by Claude Michel Schonberg, lyrics by Herbert Kretzmer, and a book by Trevor Nunn. John Caird and James Fenton, there's a lot of people there. She will be singing On My Own, which is sung by the character Eponine, who is one of Kaitlyn's many dream roles after she realized her childhood crush would never love her the way she loves him. And here is On My Own from Les Mis. That was a mouthful.
It's a monologue. Tripping over my own dress up here. I don't know if anybody's noticed. If I just go down, just leave me there. It's fine.
guessing the majority of you have heard of. The Little Mermaid made its Broadway debut in 2008 with music written by Disney legend Alan Menken, lyrics by Howard Ashman and Glenn Slater, and a book by Doug Wright. It follows the story of Ariel, a mermaid who dreams of living amongst the humans on dry land and falls in love with Prince Eric after saving him from a shipwreck. In the following song, Ariel is dreaming of living life far away from sea, something she won't be able to do without the help of Ursula the Sea Witch. She admires life above the water and yearns to live where she can always be under the sun. Although this description seems very similar to Part of Your World, the next song will actually be The World Above, not included in the movie, but written for the musical The Little Mermaid.
There's a train, that's the problem.
For her next piece, Kaitlyn was very adamant about singing something from Heathers the musical. The musical is based off the movie Heathers, which was released in the 80s. The music, lyrics, and book were written by Lawrence O'Keefe and Kevin Murphy. This musical has yet to actually make it on Broadway, but it was an instant classic when it made its off-Broadway premiere in 2014. In mid-2018, it made its off-West End premiere in London, which made Kaitlyn very upset because it premiered about 4 days after she flew home from London last summer, and it was then moved to the West End in late 2018. It follows Veronica Sawyer and her struggle to survive high school alongside her infamous Heathers, all while trying to calm her homicidal boyfriend JD. The next song is written for the UK version of Heathers, and in it, Veronica is explaining to JD that she is done being his accomplice. She tells him that she wants to be a good person and that he can't use her to justify his actions anymore. It's a very powerful piece, and it adds a new layer to the character of Veronica Sawyer, which was not in the off-Broadway version. And here is I Say No from Heathers the musical.
This habit now, or else I never will. I love the rush. have drank water while you were clapping, but I didn't. So this next piece, it's going to be my last. It's a lot quicker than I was expecting. Wow. So before I introduce it, I want to extend some thank yous. And this is going to take a minute, so get comfy. First of all, to Dr. Oberoi. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today, but I would like to thank him for everything. He's going to watch this, so thank you. I'd like to thank him for everything that he's taught me over the past year and a half. And more importantly, I want to thank him for allowing me to take this project on, even though it was very ambitious. And when I came in, I was like, yeah, so I want to sing 20 songs. And he was like,
Oh, God.
no. And I was like, okay, fine, 15. And he was like, absolutely not. That's way too many. And I was like, fine, you're right. But yeah. I would also like to thank Professor Bond for all of his help and for stepping up when I needed to. Thank you. I also would like to thank Professor Lampton for all of his help. He runs a great PPA department. Of course, I have to thank the amazing Jane Marinelli. She does so much work on this campus. And I emailed her trying to book this space, and you actually can't book this room. And I was like, I want to book this room. And she was like, okay. And I was like, awesome. But then I had to change the date, and I changed the time like 3 times. I asked for road signs. That was a mess today, and it was fine. But every single thing, I'm just like, hi, can I do this? And she makes it work, and she's amazing. She is the most helpful person on this entire campus. So I have to thank her from the bottom of my heart. Next, I would like to I would like to thank Jillian Young. She also works in conference and events. For reaching out to me and adding my event to the calendar online. It was very exciting when I saw my name. I was like, that's me. Next is my amazing accompanist, Sarah Troxler. Thank you. And Eli, who has been speaking to you all night so I can drink water so I don't choke up here. You don't want that. Also, fun fact, he agreed to this back in January on the way to McDonald's at midnight after one of our Addams Family rehearsals. We went to 3 different McDonald's because we couldn't figure out which one was a 24-hour one. But he pulled through, so thank you. I also need to thank Abby Kramer, who is the amazing page turner over there. She has agreed to do literally every single thing I've asked her to. I was like, hi, will you split the readings with Eli? She was like, perfect. And then I was like, just kidding. Can you usher? And she was like, perfect. And I was like, just kidding. Can you run the camera? And she was like, perfect. And I was like, just kidding. Can you page turn for us? And she was like, perfect. And I was like, that's your job now. So every time she just does exactly what I need her to do. Everybody deserves an Abby in their life. I'm very grateful. I just cried. Lost my place. Oh, next are my mom and my Nana, of course. They're my 2 biggest fans. So thank you all for your support. And last but certainly not least, all my friends and family. That's all of you guys for coming out tonight. And I know it's like the end of finals, nobody wants to be here anymore, but we're all here, and I appreciate it very much. You make doing this really fun because you're a fun audience. Okay, I'm done being sappy now. On to my last piece. You may have heard of this one. It is only the most overdone piece of musical theater in all of the history of musical theater. It's from a little musical called Wicked. I'm sure some of you might have heard of it. And it is the ending of Act 1, when Elphaba decides that she is going to embrace her Wicked, and she is going to be the Wicked Witch, and she needs to run away from Oz so that she doesn't get arrested. It's very powerful, it's very iconic, and I hope I do it justice. Again, and I hope you enjoy it, of course. Again, thank you all for coming. I'm gonna hold like a really quick Q&A at the end, so like don't feel like you have to like rush out of here. You're fine. But yeah, thank you all for coming. And here is Defying Gravity.
I'm through with playing by the rules of someone
hands, hey.